Because your friends ain't gonna buy your music. They ain't gonna buy it. And your family ain't gonna buy it. They go, oh, that's cool.
That's so nice. Look at you doing your little music.
Right, their little music too, right? They got to throw the little part
The
in.
little part of it in.
Right. It's a business, so
Yeah.
you have to stay on your business part. But if you're gonna be an artist, it's cool to just be an artist. But now you got to be everything. So for me, basically, my father was a filmmaker. He's from Harlem. He studied in photography and filmmaking, and then taught photography and filmmaking, and was a filmmaker himself. He did a lot of documentaries, and I knew he was doing it, but I kind of was like, well, I don't know what he's doing. And I couldn't really figure out what he was doing as a kid.
Right.
But as I got older, I saw that he was doing it. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Maybe I could do that. But I didn't take it seriously. So I didn't really take it serious until I started enjoying movies, and then finding out that the actual people behind the movies, which are the directors, could be someone that you look up to as well.
Yeah.
So there, there's the staples in life, which would be Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. I was like, oh, now you're starting to see their pictures.
Yeah.
As you enjoy the movies, you start to see who they are. And it's like, oh, I want to do that.
The creative mind behind the genius.
And it really, and then knowing my father did it was cool. But it was really, I would give props to Spike Lee for actually being the young brother from New York who was doing it. And then that sort of gave me the permission to like, hey, you could really, really, really do this if you put your all into it, because he was all over the place. Like he was in the movie. It was like She's Gotta Have It. So he wrote the movie, directed the movie, he was in the movie. Then he was doing all the commercials. I was like, oh, this guy is cool. Like, he was older than me, but still, I was like, oh, but he looks like me, even though he's tiny, he's short. But he's the same skin tone, and he's from New York. So I was from Manhattan. He's from
Representation matters, just real quick.
Yes. Money making Manhattan. But anyway, so that was sort of like the little interest I had. But I was a comic book nerd and collected comic books, and I was a painter. I was doing paintings and
It's just art all around.
illustrations. I did a lot of paintings. Like, I mean, I was good. I used to win awards at the comic convention. I would go there and like show my little painting, and I'd beat out all these other kids. So it was always in me to be an artist. Like nothing has ever changed to me. For me, it was just, I want to be an artist. It was the music part is what was new within my world when it came down to being an artist, because no one was pushing me to be a musician. That was me just wanting to fit in with my classmates.
Yeah.
So they were listening to stuff that I never even thought of listening to, like Kiss and Led Zeppelin, and I was not into Kiss or Led Zeppelin.
That's crazy. I love both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the band that sort of gave me a little extra edge was Queen. And that was like, oh, well, Another One Bite the Dust actually sounds like a black song. So, you kind of didn't know. I mean, I knew they were a white band, but they brought me into another sound because they put out a song that was funky. And then I was like, oh, you can't just close yourself off. But then MTV sort of just changed everything for me, which was, now you're seeing Billy Idol, and you're seeing Thompson Twins, and now you're seeing Boy George and Culture Club and all those artists that influenced me, period, whether it be what I listened to or how I dressed. I mean, I didn't wear the spiky hair or anything like that, but it was, this was coming up in New York, where you get to see everything. You get to see the punk rockers, you get to see the rappers, the break dancers, you get to see all the rock and rollers, the skinheads, you see everybody.
Yeah.
So you get to learn all these different cultures. And to me, it was like the best time to grow up in the 80s in New York.
Wow.
Where you get to see like all the stuff that's influenced people now. It was happening.
Yeah, you were like literally in the thick of it.
Yes.
Like growing up with it.
Yeah.
That's so dope, dang.
So I'm hanging around with the Beastie Boys, and as I mentioned, you know, Dana Dane was in my class, and Slick Rick was in my. I didn't even know Slick Rick was Slick Rick. It was Ricky.
It was just Ricky. Wow.
So, but I never rapped really. So I would be like the person who would bang on the table or in the lunchroom, or if you know like how to make a beat, you use a quarter in one hand and then you bang with the other. So I was that dude. I was not the person who would jump out and try to rap.
You weren't
at all.
You weren't trying to be at the center.
No, I never really wanted to be in the center, to be honest with you. And that was okay for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because a lot of times, like the people who are working in the background, they're the ones that's carrying the show.
Right.
Honestly, if you really think about it, because, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, you have fabulous singers like Whitney Houston and people who do just park and bark and just, you know, they don't need nothing, no accompaniment whatsoever. But like majority of the singers, majority of the rappers, the people who are in the lead, who are, you know, center stage, like what makes them who they are the people in the background, like the amazing bassists, the, you know, the guitar players, like different things like that. So that's fire. I know that you said that you started off seeing your father in film and different things like that. And then you wanted to kind of fit into music. Music really wasn't on your radar like that until you were at school trying to fit in, and then you kind of were seeing different influences that made you like, oh wow, this is actually pretty dope. When did you actually start getting into music for yourself?
I mean, when I was back in New York, I had a band called Blue, which is my friend Daryl Serrano and Jeff Norman and myself. And it was an R&B soul type of band, similar to the music I play now, which was, you know, based around piano, bass, drums, percussion, and vocals.
Right.
And, you know, as I may or may not mention, Sade is like the top of, like, I don't need to go any further. I don't care if she sells another record. That's the music I like.
Right.
And that's the music if I can sound just is good or better at some point. I'll never sound better, but if I can just at least be in the same ballpark, I'm cool with it, whether people like it or not. Obviously, I throw more stuff into my own music, but if I can just emulate that vibe, it's all about the vibe for me anyway. So I just like vibey music. So that's kind of like the journey I just set myself on, and just figure out where it comes from and how am I going to get there. Right.
So you started working with Blue, and you said when we were talking over there, you said that you just, I think GarageBand started opening up, you started dabbling in that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, years went by after I started with the band Blue, but then I really got into the film industry, and I had to put a pause on that.
Yeah.
Because I really had to focus on becoming a director and an editor and all that stuff.
Which is what you started off wanting to do. Yeah.
So it was not until Apple put out GarageBand that I was like, let me dabble into this music thing again. And I had to first teach myself how to use GarageBand. And once I did that, I recorded a bunch of garbage songs, and then eventually came up with something that was pretty cool, to the point where I was gonna put something out, and basically I was just gonna put out a sort of like a fake video, like a fake artist, because I was sort of like rebelling against what was coming out at the time. And I was like, oh man, anybody can do this. So I came up with this track that was sort of R&B, reggae, and I was gonna have an actress friend of mine just come up with some lyrics, and let's just record it and put out a video and pretend like you're a real artist. So
you were so like upset basically about the music that was coming out. It was like, man, this is trash, for lack of a better word. I can do this.
Right.
I'm gonna just call up a random friend. Hey, meet me here at 8. I don't know if it was 8.
It wasn't 8, but it was the same vibe. It was like, but then we never did it.
Right.
I played the song to another musician who kind of was always like a snobby musician, and he liked it. I was like, oh snap, he likes it. So let me not just make it a joke song. Let me kind of hold on to this. So I never did the project until I met Natalie, and Natalie is a singer, dancer from Lion King. She just came out to LA to act and do whatever she was going to do. And I met her through another friend, Dawn, and she was like, oh, this is my friend Natalie, she wants to sing. And then I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then it didn't cross my mind until like a few days later, and then I had to get her number and track her down, and then we just spoke about it. And she was like, yeah, I want to sing. And I was like, oh, I got this track. And that's pretty much how it happened. We just decided to collaborate, but it was supposed to be a one-off, a song called Come Again. And it was just going to be the one song, and that's that. But after we did it, people liked it. And because no one knew I played music.
Yeah.
So once I started playing it, people, oh, that's pretty cool. What's the name of the band? And we didn't even have a name. So we came up with the name Boss, and it was sort of like almost like a joke, because at the time there was this funny skit on Saturday Night Live, and they were doing crazy stuff like a boss, and then he would do something, kick something over like a boss, and get drunk and pass out like a boss. So we're like, let's do that, but let's put dots in it. So it was like B.O.S.S. So it was, and what does that stand for? Shit, I don't know. So I think we came up with big on sexy shit or big on sexy sound, or we never have to say that out loud. It's just boss. If I would have thought harder, I would not have used the name.
Right.
Because then I realized, oh, there's Boss Jeans, and then people overused the word boss. Like at the time, people overused it.
Yeah.
Where we thought it was funny, but it was overused. But by the time you spent all the time and money establishing the name, we just kept it. And it's hard to find us on the platforms because of the dots in the name. And then there's other people called Boss, which I never knew. When you type it in, like nobody popped up, so it's like, okay, this name is good. Next thing you know, there's like 6-7 artists. But you know, we do have the stuff on Spotify and Apple and everything. You can find us, but it's hard. It is hard to find the music. I had to put like the name of the song, the name of the band, and then put DJ Abby Ab all in one line, and then it pops up.
Right. Well, that's crazy how that one connection can just turn into something like that. And a lot of times it happens that way. Like I have one song my sister and I, we had made, and we were like we were slaving over like the other 3 songs for the EP. This other song, my mom was like, since your name is Fire, you should have a song named Fire. And we were like, ugh. We literally knocked it out in like a day. We were like, nah, okay, whatever, move on to the next. That's like the most streamed one, and I to this day be like, why? I don't understand. And it happens a lot like that. Like the one you kind of give the less effort to, I feel like sometimes it gives that authenticity. You know what I mean? Like to where you're just really just in the pocket, having fun, just vibing, and then your own expression can come through the music.
Right.
Like,
so this one was kind of like that, because like we had nothing to lose.
Right.
Because if it failed, hey, we were just joking around.
Exactly.
But the thing was, we took it serious though. So the video, like we didn't have no money, but we did a video. We shot in LA, Studio City, Brooklyn, New York, and Malibu.
Wow.
On a 0 budget.
How did you?
It's called Favors. Favors on top of favors.
Wow.
But luckily I had a camera. I owned the 5D, and I knew how to use it, and I knew how to edit. So that's a big deal right then and there.
Ahead of over thousands of musicians already.
Right. So since I knew how to do that, only time I had to worry about anything is if I'm going to be in the shot. Then I have to have someone operate the camera. So luckily I had a friend who knew how to hit the button and keep it in focus and go like this if I need it. And then when I shot in New York, you know, I had my other friend shoot footage of me, and you know, it was well planned, but with no budget. But that was because we were hungry and ready to do it.
Yeah.
So it was like a 5-day shoot with 0 budget. And us flying to New York was just a coincidence. Like me going to New York and her going to New York was just by chance.
Wow.
And luckily I had a friend who was like, oh, you can stay at my studio apartment, or my basement, 1 bedroom actually, wasn't the studio. I just got cool friends.
Wow.
And I stayed there and was able to go shoot. But obviously if you're going to shoot in New York, you want to shoot outside. So we shot everything outside in New York. And in LA, we shot inside, outside, on the beach, on the rooftop. It was just just go for it. And that sort of opened the door to like, hey, this band is a visual band, even though it's not a lot of people in it. It was really just myself and Natalie. Eventually we had Mike come in and he played guitar and he was in a couple of the videos. So we did videos that were pretty decent, I think, for spending no money.
Really good.
Like thank you. We had our bigger single was called Major Love, and we shot at a studio, but my friend Elliot, he had to connect, and so we got to shoot on a sound stage, and we didn't have to pay for shit. We had to pay for food. That's it.
That is dope. And that's the power of networking, guys.
Yes.
Okay, that's the power of networking.
So I just had people who believed in the project enough for us to be able to cash in some of the favors, and that's really what it's all about. So now I'm, like, do I have any favors left in that favor bucket? Yes, I do. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, to be an artist, you have to be able to work with others.
Yeah. It is mandatory. Like, even if you have times where you just like, gosh, I just want to throw myself and everything out the window right now with this person next to me, you have to go ahead and continue to work with others. Now, you don't have to work with that same person, but you do have to continue to break out there and work with others, because that's the name of the game. That's how you elevate. You know what I'm saying?
And then the perfect example to bring it back to storytelling and music would be, I did a short film with a friend of mine who came to me to, actually it started off as just me wanting to, or them wanting to do a monologue for another actor. And a producer friend of mine was like, oh, can you edit this monologue once we shoot it? And I was like, well, what are you guys shooting? Oh, it's just a short monologue for my friend, his name is Ronnie. It's like, okay, I'll do it. And then after speaking with him, I was like, well, what's the story? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are you guys gonna do? And who's shooting it? And it was a lot of questions I had. And then eventually, like, well, it would be nice if we actually told a full story. So then I came on board as the writer to write this short film called Curse of War, what had to do with the Marine suffering from PTSD and him wanting to kill himself.
Wow.
So the monologue was the speech that he gives before he kills himself. That's the only thing that was supposed to be in the script. So basically, I wrote everything that happens before that and after that. Wow. And then we shot the movie. We shot in Simi Valley, Brooklyn, and in Studio City. And this had a super low budget, but it was some money. Philippa Davis, she produced it and exec produced it and paid for it. I don't know how she was able to do it, but she did it. But everyone else worked for the love of the project. And since I was the writer for the script, I was like, well, I want to incorporate my band somehow. Yeah. So
go ahead.
I wrote a line in the script called, well, the character is like, I had to let it go. I had to let it all go. That's just what he said. So I took that line and said, okay, we should write a song called Let It All Go. So Natalie, she wrote the lyrics and the whole song based off of that one phrase.
Wow.
But she was writing it from the perspective of her feelings for her mom, who was dying from cancer. So she wrote that song for that, but knowing it's going to be in the film. So basically, once we finished shooting the movie, we recorded the song, and then it closes out the movie, as the credits roll. A year later, after we released the movie, and it was doing pretty well in the film festival circuit, it was like, let's do a music video. But I was like, well, what are we gonna do? Because it's just me and Natalie in the band now. We didn't have the guitarist anymore. But I had another guitarist who produced the song with me playing the guitar, but he's not gonna be in the video because he's not in our band. So I decided to write a story based off of the movie, using the same actors from the movie. Only thing that was kind of weird is that we had two kids in it, and they grew like over 1 year. They got tall. So, but luckily we got away with it. But definitely the kid was this tall, and then he was really
next
tall.
Thing he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" He was like,
not quite with the voice, but the face. He definitely had grown up. But to me, that was like one of the most touching videos I did, because it was all acting except for cutaways of me playing bass and Natalie singing. So we shot the performance stuff downtown LA, and it was just me, my friend Mark, Natalie, and a makeup artist. That's it. Just four of us. And then we shot the narrative in Brooklyn, near the Brooklyn Bridge, with the cast, and my friend Henry shot it, so I can just focus on directing, because you're really directing these people,
Right.
and you're trying to get emotion out of them with no words. Like, they can't speak. And I shoot it in slow motion too, because that was my style. Anything that was narrative, I would shoot at high speed, so when you play it back, it definitely separates from the artist lip syncing to the action that's on the screen. Is always like a little slow motion. It's always cool in slow motion too, but we did that, and that one was pretty good. That was like the first music video that I directed that made it into different film festivals as a music video. But I'd never had that before, where it was winning awards and it would be in different film festivals.
Yeah, and you know, I like, as I hear you talk about it, I feel like, because I hear this all the time, like in the music world, especially right now, from like other people who've like made it with their music. They always say to make it a point to, sometimes what they'll do is they'll have a theme that they'll create first, and they'll create the music around that whole entire theme. And I hear that that's something that you did with that project. You know, you had that project first, and then obviously it's a deep narrative about someone going through depression and wanting to commit suicide, different things like that. And then you're like, okay, I know I got my band, like, and I know what we do. We need to create something around this theme. And then your partner, who you were working with, I know she had, you know, her experiences with her mother passing away and different things, fighting cancer. It's like that contributed to the storytelling because it was real. You know what I'm saying? And then you were kind of making it around that theme. And I think that's something that a lot of like artists can learn from, is kind of like taking your experiences and kind of resonating with a theme. Like, that's...
Well, it's definitely authentic. Like, there's no... I mean, the whole project to me is one of my favorite projects, and it wasn't a moneymaker. I didn't make any money from it. It was like, but I put so much into it, and I believed in, you know, Philippa, and I believed in Ronnie enough to put my time and energy and skills into it, because one, they came to me and they wanted me to do it, but two, it was such that the topic was not explored at all. Like, people weren't really talking about PTSD. Now people are talking about mental health, and mental health is not a bad word to say anymore, but this movie was like a few years old now. I think we did it 2016. So, you know, people weren't really using the phrase mental health. Yeah. But now they are.
And I mean, it was something that was frowned upon back in the day. You know what I mean? Especially within, I mean, I know within the Black community, at least, like, a lot of times you hear mental health, people like, go ahead and pick yourself up.
Yeah, it had to do with mental health, had to do with alcoholism, drug abuse. And it was a short, so, you know, I think the other thing was that it was a heavy short too. It was very heavy. It wasn't a comedy. So, you know, I wanted to do a sequel, and I guess the music video was the unofficial sequel, because it was the same characters. So obviously he didn't die because he's in the video. But you know the way the movie is on Amazon, so you can see it. It's on Amazon Prime, but it's not free though, so it's like $2.
Link below.
Yes. So, you know, it's called Curse of War, and, you know, people should check it out. We did a 30-minute documentary on the making of the movie, because I know how to do that too. So, a few months later, we decided, hey, let's talk about the movie as well. Like, tell people why we made it and how it was made. So we did a 30-minute doc on it. I just happened to schedule it to go fly back to New York, and we rented a light, and I had a friend who let us shoot in their apartment, and I had the camera, which is always important. I had the camera and I had the mic, so all we need is a light, and I just couldn't travel with a light because I own a light, but I just couldn't travel with it. Okay. And then we just shot the actors talking about their roles and stuff like that, and I just had a lot of footage that people shot on their phones that I was able to put into the project. So it was, to me, that was like a well-rounded production where people weren't spending a ton of money, but everybody's heart was in it.
Right. And then also you were utilizing all your strengths. And I'm bringing it back to like storytelling, and then also just musicians utilizing all their strengths, because honestly, as a musician now, you, especially independent, you have to know about a little bit of film, a little bit of content, and a lot of bit of music, you know what I'm saying? And so like you did that, you utilized that, and this, I think that's a prime example on how you can be creative and tell a story utilizing your music to kind of push the project forward.
Right.
So as we move forward, talk to us about your transition, like as you're, you know, going through it. What was the next step after this project, as it relates to your music, which you did with your band, and even just working with other musicians in the process?
I mean, we finished the next album called Liquid Leather. The first one was called Tricky Kinda Love. The second album we decided to do was called Liquid Leather, which was a term I came up with for a song, and it just never made it to the title of the song. So I was like, well, let's at least call the album Liquid Leather, because it sounds so unusual.
Yeah.
It makes you think, like, what the hell is liquid leather?
I gotta listen to it now,
Right.
figure out what it is.
So at that point, we sort of established a specific sound, which was good. But the album is, the way it's written, it's basically 5 tracks and 5 instrumental tracks. And it was just exploring different genres, really. So like we had that song Mind that I played for you, which was very trippy. Then we had Let It All Go, which is a straight up R&B song. We had a song called Vice, which was like a hybrid of R&B and reggae. And that's the one I'm doing a remix now, where it's still R&B and reggae, but I just changed it around a little bit. And then I have a rapper on it. His name is So2. And he did like 16 bars on it. So it's something different. And you know, that came out digitally. We didn't do the CD pressing because it's like no one's buying these damn CDs. So I'm just gonna do it as an
Age of
album.
digital, yes.
But yeah, I mean, I'm ready to move on to the next genre, which I'm not sure what it is. So who knows what it's gonna be?
Yeah. And you know what? You know, that's one of the reasons why, and I've said this before, but that's one of the reasons why I call myself Fya. Because I feel like my music is fluid like that. You hear a little bit of rock influences, you hear a little bit of R&B, jazz, like different things like that. And so it's really cool, like when I'm in the presence of another artist who is like, you know, I'm not just stuck in a box.
Right.
Like, to where it's like, oh, you have to do R&B and R&B
Right.
only. You know
Well,
what I'm
the song
saying?
Vice we did, yeah, I put an electric guitar, like a hard electric guitar.
That's fire.
You know, we'll make sure you hear it.
Yes.
But there's no video for it though. But there's an electric guitar in it, and then me playing it as best as I can. But it's still crunchy, heavy metal sound. And it's just do whatever you want. You know, there's nobody telling you not to.
Yeah.
So the only person that's going to stop you is you,
Exactly.
or maybe the singer when she's not available. So.
And then I also feel like too, when you really get down to it and you look at it, the greats are the ones that did what they wanted to do.
That's true.
If you look at people like Prince, like, and even in rap, like Jay-Z, like who you've worked with, like they broke the norm. You know what I mean? It's not, okay, I'm not going to just go ahead and sing, and I don't want someone. I know Prince said he didn't want nobody producing his stuff. He was gonna produce his whole entire album, play every instrument, and do it all himself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like a lot of people are kind of afraid to kind of break out of that mold, but once they do, like, you really can let yourself shine and create these stories and tell them. And
I mean, I got the Prince thing, like, do it all yourself, but he didn't need to. I mean, he had all those talented people behind him.
No, he most definitely didn't need to.
But for me, it was sort of like, if you let other people play stuff, yeah, it could sound better, but then where's the fun? Like, you know, if you're not having fun doing it, which is sitting there trying to figure these parts out and everything like that, then, you know, why do it?
Right.
If you're not making money from it, at least have fun doing it. So I always tried to keep that in mind of like, all right, well, I can do this, but I can't do this, but I'm gonna try to do it and see how it works out. So if it makes it on the record, that means I was able to make it sound as good as it should.
Right.
Now, if you ask me to play it again, then there's a problem.
I don't know.
I'd have to rehearse. But I always say, I am a musician, but I also say I'm a producer before I'm I'm not a session player.
Right.
Like I can't read music. I just listen by ear. And then I'm all mixed up anyway because I'm a lefty, but I play bass with the right, but I can't play the keyboards correctly. So it's always something different on how the music sounds, is because I'm limited to my skill level. But the average person's not going to know.
Right, no.
At all.
At all. As long as the music sounds good and they're able to vibe with it.
So how you got to that point, who knows? But it's not samples and it's not anyone else's music. It's my music with no samples, except, you know, the drum is an electronic drum, but I had to program it. I don't take loops from programs and then throw them in there, except for like, if I do that, it would be like something with a whole lot of effects on it that's in the background.
How do you stay authentic to yourself as DJ Ab and boss?
I mean, it's easy for me to do that because I'm just sitting there playing bass and playing the keyboards or whatever.
You're just vibing.
So I don't have to be the singer. So Natalie's the singer, so she has to be out front. So to me, it's easy. I wouldn't be the good example because I don't really do anything too much in the video except be the musician. That's always the point. I'm always trying to like, oh, look, it's a real bass. This is not a synth bass. This is a real bass. Is it really me playing the keyboards or someone else playing the keyboards? And is someone really playing the guitar? It's not a sample. So it's just showing that authenticity as just wanting to be a musician and trying to hold on to that musicianship with other musicians. But like I said, it's really hard to do a full answer on that because everything is different for different artists. You know, I personally just don't like when people overly sexualize themselves so fast. Now, if you're gonna be that artist, that's fine, but there's gotta be some give and take on that because it just gets a little bit too much. Like, all your goodies out right now is like, you just give it all away.
Right.
Especially if you put it on Instagram or something where you're not making any money off of it. So it's almost like, if you're gonna be that, tease it out a little bit, just don't go for it all. So it kind of feels a little desperate, some of the stuff that I see these days.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff is just cool. Like some of it's not even, they're just laid back and chill, which is cool, or you're hyped up and energetic, that's even cool too. But I think there's a middle ground on being authentic. You got to find your authenticity as well as, you know, your artistry, and and then sell records at the same time, or sell singles or downloads or streams or whatever. You got to sell, or at least get some sort of recognition from your art. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to suddenly just be an artist and then suddenly you have to be the A&R and then
that's
the
what
label.
I mean. That's what happens honestly when you become an independent artist. You have to be a little bit of everything for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So how do you navigate being everything? Because you do it so well. Because you're a producer, musician, a filmmaker.
Well, I mean, some of it, to be honest, some of it takes the back seat to whatever I'm really trying to do to make money. So the musician part, a couple dollars here and there, but it's not the money maker that I want it to be. So I have to, you know, out of the pie of 100, you know, I might pull out this slice is just for music, but also I have the whole other career or careers that I'm working on as well.
Right. But the thing is, it stays within that frame of music still.
Yeah, sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't. Like right now, it's like I've been working on a remix of a song for a year and then I didn't put it out. But I'm going to put it out. When are you going to put it out? Soon. I already mixed it. Right. Now I have to master it. And then we got to do a video, and that's where it gets a little hard because, you know, I'm doing other things. And then to stop and do a video, it's fine, but, you know, there's nobody pushing me to do it. You know, even though the singer Natalie is cool, she's down to do it. I just got to pull the trigger and say, okay, we're doing it on this Saturday. Right. And let's do it. So I'm about to do that, I swear.
Well, let us know so we can go ahead and let everybody else know. That'd be dope. We could all have a watch party together and watch it. No, listen. Have a listening party and listen to it. You know,
and then this cat named Joshua, I'm gonna be coming after him for some favors. 'Cause I hooked him up. Anyway.
You sure did. Just both of them. Okay. Okay, so as technology evolves, especially with the use of AI, we know that AI is very prevalent. It's booming right now. Artists have more tools at their disposal than ever before. What innovative approaches or techniques do you think independent artists should explore to push the boundaries of like their music right now, so they can go beyond the music?
I don't know if you're going to want to go beyond the music because that's what you're creating. So if you use AI as a tool, just to get into the AI conversation, if you use it as a tool, then it's cool. But if you use it to replace the vocals, if you're using it to just cheat, then where's the fun of it all? Like, it's
Right.
even samples. If you use samples, that's still creative, unless you literally take a loop and just loop it, and that's it. But I don't know. I think AI is a great tool, but if it's something that is going to replace musicians or replace vocalists or replace a writer, then I'm not interested. So I sort of step away from it a little bit.
Right.
So I use it for what it's there for, if it's fixing something you're writing, but it's never something that is going to take over and I don't do anything and I just use AI, because then it makes me irrelevant.
Right, exactly. And when I say beyond the music, I'm really talking about like to take it beyond to the next level. You go what I'm saying?
If it improves whatever you're doing, then yeah, cool.
Right.
But if it's just takes over then what you're doing, then that means the next person could just did the same thing. It's just you did it first,
Right.
or second, or third, or fourth. So there's a fine line. I'm not sure where it's going, so I'm just sort of sitting back and
Saying where
but I'm always looking to see what's available that I can use to help push my projects forward, or at least help me with my artistry, or help me with writing a email that maybe I need to tone it down a little bit, make this sound a little nicer, or make this sound a little professional, or whatever, just using it for what it's for, not abusing it.
Right. Okay, perfect. Reflecting on your rich career, what is one lesson you wish you had learned earlier in your journey as a musician and as a filmmaker?
Well, I mean, as a filmmaker, I would say trust no one. No,
Dang.
I'm joking.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
As a filmmaker, I think just possibly having a bigger team to work with, because I still have the same people in my circle that I came up with, but there's more to it than just your friends or people who think you're cool or think you're good. There's just people behind the scene that works for you as a machine. So I just wish I had a bigger machine that worked with me to help elevate my career further.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. And what team specifically are you talking about?
Even
A&R,
if you're talking about music, just an A&R person or someone who's just gonna keep putting the music out for you. If you're talking about music, because I produce the tracks, play it, and do the videos, edit the video. By the time it's all said and done, I'm burnt out.
Right.
Now you have to market the video. Now you got to market the song and keep putting links out. And like everybody's sort of just moved on to something else. And you're trying to come back over here. I'm trying to
exactly.
listen to this. Listen to pick me.
Right.
So I'm not the pick me yelling in the corner guys. Like I'm sort of like, here it is. If you like it, great. If you don't, great. But I'm gonna keep doing me. But the thing is, you do need people behind you. You do need a team. You do need help to push it out to the world, because it's a big world.
Right.
You don't want to just be in the one circle of people that you know.
Right.
Because your friends ain't gonna buy your music.
That is so true. Look, that is so true. Okay, because they love you and all. I'm just playing. Let me not do the air quotes.
They ain't gonna buy it. Your family ain't gonna buy it. They go, oh, that's cool.
That's so nice. Look at you doing your little music.
Right, their little music too, right? They got to throw the little part.
The little part of it in.
Right, thank you.
Your little music.
Yeah, no, it's a business, so you have to stay on your business part. But if you're gonna be an artist, it's cool to just be an artist. But now you got to be everything.
Yeah.
So I'm always like picking stuff up that other people give their opinion on, like, don't just release a whole album, just release singles. Like, okay, that means you got to do that same thing over and over. Like, you got to market it over and over. But maybe this is the time of our lives where people aren't buying albums anymore. They're
Yeah.
just really looking at singles.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I learned from a stranger, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just online people talking. But it's so many things you pick and choose and decide whether you're going to do that or you're going to go your own route and just be your own boss. And whatever comes out of it, comes out of it.
Right. As you look into the future for yourself and other projects that you have coming up, what themes are you most excited to explore next? And how do you envision your storytelling evolving in the years to come as it relates to your music?
The stories are the stories because I have a ton of scripts or scripts are available to me and projects that I want to do, and none of them really are related. Some of them are actually, but none of them are related to a specific piece of music at all. Like the band and the projects really don't mix.
But
Oh, I had a but too, but go on.
Because I know you showed me some of your music videos. We were talking, and that what you do, like whether you realize it or not, it does like merge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I can see your point. I mean, for example, there's the Balance of Power project, which was a short film that was written by Sybil Curry, and who also produced and paid for the project. I directed it, but it was a different type of project because it was a short film told through music, and it wasn't a music video. So stuff like that, I would love to do that again.
Right.
So stuff like that, yes, the music would relate to the visuals, but I've yet to write anything else where it was just a movie told through music only. That's not a musical. That's kind of rare.
Right. Right. So is that something you want to?
I would totally do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like musicals, which is kind of weird. Even though I like music videos, I just don't like musicals. But some of them I do like. Like Purple Rain, or the Bohemian Rhapsody. What else was good? I mean, there's a few that are just like top of the line type of movies that are musicals, but still. Rocket Man, that was good too. But it's not that many though.
Right.
Grease.
I love Grease. I love me some Grease. That's my song. Okay, next. So finally, we always give like our listeners here a homework assignment after every quick fireside chat that we do. What is something, a homework assignment? What is a homework assignment you want to give the listeners so they can stay hot like Fya?
I don't know. Give me an example, because I want to know. I don't know.
As a musician, as a filmmaker, and as because you are basically what I see you as, you're the bridge of music and film. And so, as it relates to storytelling, as it relates to music, give our listeners a homework assignment on how they can be hot like Fya in the music industry.
I would say study your craft. So if you are a singer, study it. Like, don't just be like, oh, I'm a musician, I'm a singer, and that's that. Like, study it, take some lessons, and that goes for everything, whether you're a musician or a writer. If you're gonna be a writer, then hopefully, I mean, that's a large question, because everybody is open for improvement, including myself. So it's almost like just study the craft. I mean, I went to 4 years of film school to come out and be like, what am I going to do now?
Right.
Besides pay these bills.
Right.
So it takes a lot to like really be serious about it. So be serious about it. And, people think they can bypass going to take classes and stuff like that. But when you're in the real world, you have to know your stuff, and if you don't know it, someone else knows it, so why are they going to hire you? And if you can't bring anything more to the table because you're limited on the stuff you know, then they're going to hire somebody else. So you just want to always be able to elevate yourself over the next person who decided, this is as far as I want to go. So if you see now where everyone's making content, then you see everyone's doing it. Right. So you got to bring something more to the table. You have to have some extra skills that go along with it if you want to get to a certain level. Now, if you just want to do it and not worry about making money, then just do you and see what happens. But you always got to be twice as good,
right,
to the next person, maybe 3 times as good.
This thing is extremely competitive.
Mm-hmm.
This industry is extremely competitive. So I think that's a phenomenal homework assignment.
Yeah, just study. Like, don't be
Study
shy
the
about it.
craft.
Don't think like you don't know anything, or don't think you know everything.
Right.
You know, I can teach a class, but I can take a class. It's not a problem.
Right.
Now, it depends on what the class is, but, you know, I can teach a class, and like I said, I can take a class and then teach that class. So it's really is, if you're open, then, you know, if you have your homework assignment and you push yourself, then you should get something out of it too. Not just do something and then move on. Just really pay attention and find a mentor. You know, there's so many different ways to like improve yourself if you're talking about someone who's just getting started, or if you already been started and you've already done it and you feel stuck, try to link on with someone else who's like-minded, you know what I mean, and ask for their opinion on how to make something better. Collaborate and see if we can do something together. You know, use both of our skills and let's do it. And then of course following through, because a lot of people don't follow through. They just talk and talk, but they don't follow through. So just have a goal, really. Find a goal, study it, and see where it takes you within a year. But you know, to be good, you got to be good.
This has been excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, quite welcome.
Thank you so much for your time.
I hope people got something out of it and not bored. But you know, I think the other thing is to do what you want. So obviously, congratulations on your show, because you decided you wanted to do it, and now you're doing it.
Thank you.
And you got me here. I'm not even sure how that happened, but here I am.
Man, look, I seen him. We were like at an event.
Right.
My lovely husband. Let me stop saying lovely. My amazing, handsome, wonderful husband. And I was like, you know what music? You know anyone in music? He was like, I am music. I was like, oh yeah, period. Like, all right, everyone. That is the end of this episode of Fya Sidechats with our wonderful guest, Abdul Malik Abbott. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.